Published in 1859, the buzz was all about the extraordinary implications for mankind. Were we just beasts in fancy dress? Evolution became known as the monkey theory. The row has not gone away. In Kenya, the cradle of mankind, religious groups are trying to block the opening of the National Museum's exhibit of human fossils. The fossil record of human ancestry has a particular fascination. To me, these are far more precious than the crown jewels.
This is the Turkana boy, Homo erectus, 1.5 million years old, the most complete ancient human skeleton ever found. It's one of the most precious relics in any museum, anywhere in the world. It would be an enormous pity if there were any pressure not to allow it to be seen.
The 10 million strong evangelical movement in Kenya has run a Hide the Bones campaign. By coincidence, I was born right next door to the church, where the protest is being led by Bishop Boniface Adoyo. Bishop, how do you do? Very nice of you to agree to this meeting.
Same here, to meet the great professor.
Oh, let's go into it. You know, I was born just over the road there.
No, I'm told over the other side.
Well, we'll have to work that out later.
Yeah. And you've met your...
It was clear that we weren't going to see eye to eye from the beginning. I'm an ape.
Yeah.
Are you, Bishop?
I'm not.
Okay.
Definitely I'm not. I'm special. Made in the image of God, in the creative mind of God, creative as God is, who made me. That's the difference between the ape and me.
Well, I'm an ape, I'm an African ape, and I'm very proud to be an African ape.
Yeah.
And so should you be. Don't you think the evidence should be displayed for all to see and make up their own minds?
Yeah, sure. Everybody,
but you're against displaying
everybody
it. You're against
should
displaying
make up their own mind. No, I'm not against the display. I'm against the attachment of the evolution theory to the displays. You see, that's all we're talking about.
So you'd be happy for them to be displayed but not with evolutionary messages?
Because they are complete human being skulls.
Well, not really. I mean, they're very much smaller than ours, and they've got very much less brain. The 3 million year old one had the same size brain as chimpanzees. They were kind of chimpanzees on their hind legs. So it was a first step towards becoming human. And the next step was then, in the Turkana boy, to have a bigger brain. And the final step was to have an even bigger brain like us.
If that's where we originated and evolved into this stage, why aren't those chimpanzees also evolving into man? Why aren't they extinct? Because by the time we developed to this level, they should have been extinct.
No, that's not the way evolution works. We're not descended from them.
Yes.
We're cousins of them. So we and they go back to a common ancestor. They're the chimpanzees, there's us. We go back to a common ancestor. Now, that common ancestor was not a chimpanzee and it was not a human. It was something else. And it evolved towards being a chimpanzee. In a different direction. It evolved towards being a human. So chimpanzees have been evolving all that time, and humans have been evolving all that time. And they'll probably both go on evolving, but we can't predict where that will go. Our discussion now threw up an important point about evolution.
So what is the goal of evolution? What is the ultimate goal? Is it for us to have big heads?
No, there is no goal.
There's no goal?
It just happens.
That doesn't answer my question. Where are we heading to? I mean, up to where shall we say that this is the limit
It doesn't
of evolution?
have goals. It's a misunderstanding of evolution to say it has goals. It never did have goals. It just changes. This is crucial. To understand evolution by natural selection, you have to grasp that it is not a grand scheme with goals. It's a harsh, unguided process which simply favors those that are most successful at passing on their genes. It has no morality or purpose. And we humans are just one of its products. Darwin took man off his pedestal and made him an animal like all others. We evolved in the ruthless competition of nature. So, what does that mean for us and our society? To begin to grapple with this problem, we have to understand what nature is in all its brutal glory.
It looks like nature in harmony. Actually, as Darwin realized, there's a struggle out there. All the players are working for their own benefit, and because they're surrounded by others who are working for their own benefit, they tend to exploit each other. In the shady forest, all the plants are struggling to get to the light. Big trees pay the price legitimately by growing up to the sun. But this strangler fig does a very strange and cruel thing. It started life high up in the tree from a seed, perhaps dropped by a fruit-eating monkey. It then sent roots down towards the ground in order to get nourishment from the ground. And then these roots proliferate all around the original tree and strangle it to death. Eventually, the original tree will die, and the fig will be left standing on its own, having usurped its position in the sun. The bitter struggle for survival in nature has been the dynamic force that has driven the evolution of life. And this is where my own struggle with the consequences of Darwinism begins. Attacks on Darwin have claimed that his goalless, soulless theory has unleashed the worst of human nature. If nature is ruthless competition, and nature is where we evolved, then is this the model for human society? Every man for himself? Well, let's look at this. There is one area of human affairs in which the dog-eat-dog mentality seems, to many, entirely natural. In business. Certain elements of business have always loved what they perceive as Darwin's message. The strong must survive, the weak perish. Here is apparent justification for unrestrained capitalism and denying help to the poor. Several of the great entrepreneurs of the early 20th century, the so-called robber barons like the oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller, were unashamed social Darwinists. They believed human progress would be delivered by modeling business and society on nature, on the unceasing struggle of the jungle.
Today, the giants of the oil industry stand as monuments to Rockefeller, the architect of our business age.
I've come to a convention of entrepreneurs in London to observe today's business animal up close.
My best friend is a money broker in the city and has more money and knows what to do with, and he's offered me whatever I need.
Okay, one thing's confusing me, and that is why you're here.
Mark, good presentation. I suppose I should put my cards on the table. I don't like